Hi everyone, my name is Malak. I'm a high school senior and I'm the founder of Beautiful. And it's a page which basically tries to motivate others to eat healthy while still like living their own daily routines and not restricting themselves. And I think that's quite important nowadays that we tend to neglect that part because we think that we're young, we're immune to everything. However, currently we're even facing a pandemic, and that means
Mhm.
that we should even care even more about our health, about the food we eat, and that's what I aim to motivate people to do by putting some recipes, quick recipes that you can do within the day, that you can do for breakfast. Yeah, these sort of stuff.
That's
And I hope
amazing.
to motivate others to eat in a
Yeah,
healthier way, to be able to juggle their daily lives and, you know, be healthier overall, develop healthy habits, which take time to build, but at some point we have to start.
exactly. And I've gone through your page, and I think it's really wonderful that you share these recipes that are super easy and they look super yummy. I've tried some of them actually. And I think, especially because we are young, we don't take into account how important it is to kind of prepare the right meals, but kind of having your page be a platform for other people to, like you said, feel motivated towards eating healthy and also trying out these recipes that are good for them. I think that's brilliant, and I love the little captions that you have under each of your posts. I think you let your viewers know kind of, like what the importance is, or maybe a little bit about the ingredients you use. So that's great.
Yeah, I also try to keep in mind that at this time, I'm not really posting like long recipes, but I also
Mhm.
try to make them really short, to fit in that. For example, you just finished the class. Instead of going out and grabbing that chips and opening it, which I
Yeah.
know most of us will do, we can quick recipe, something that we prepared the night before, something that we prepared during our free time. Yeah, so we start with the snacks, and hopefully when you start like building the basis of the like healthy lifestyle, after that you'll find yourself curious to know more, curious to eat healthier the entire day.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point because I'm not gonna say I am the most healthiest when it comes to food. I do like a bag of chips when I'm really tired. But like you said, the recipes are
Yeah,
so
and
easy.
that's completely fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but it will be better if we
mhm,
after like we eat the chips, okay, and then we also eat something else that's healthy. Instead of
yeah,
making it all like unhealthy, we cut that at some point and we also include something. The first day include one thing, second day include two things, third day you'll get used to it. Your body will feel better when you eat it and you actually
mhm,
want it instead of feeling like it's something that I have to do to stay healthy. It's not like that. It's more of a
yeah.
I feel better when I do that.
Yeah. And I think for me personally, when I grab that bag of chips, I think it's mostly because of how it has kind of become a norm for me to grab it in the first place instead of deciding to eat something more healthier. How do you get started really with eating healthy?
Okay, so we get started with the smallest thing, which is snacks. Okay,
Hmm.
that's my personal point of view. That's how I started. Okay, I remember like I started drifting towards healthy eating when I was in grade 7, grade 8, around that time. I started noticing that I was eating too much stuff, too much from everything, too many unhealthy stuff, and not even putting that in mind. Okay, like from a young age we all know that you have to eat healthy, that's better for you, but a few of us really apply it until
Hmm.
we try it out and
Yeah.
start to understand why it's better to eat healthy. So I started with, for example, instead of having a bar of chocolate, for example, like chocolate that is high in sugar, the normal milk chocolate, I'd substitute it for dark chocolate. And
Hmm.
then I started changing that to, for example, 80% dark chocolate. And then I tried 90% was too much, so I shifted back to 80%. Okay, that's how we do it. So you try to find the healthier option of everything you eat. There is no need to say, no, I'm not gonna eat chocolate anymore. It's not allowed. Cacao is good for you, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it has like many antioxidants and it's good for like fighting diseases and improving your mood. So why not like eat it? We should eat it, but like see the healthier part of it. Same thing with
Yeah.
chips, for example. Try eating sweet potato. Sweet potato chips are just fantastic. Okay,
I should
and
try that sometime.
yeah, just do it like cut it the same way and put it in like an active fry, anything in the oven maybe, and to turn it very nice. Okay. And for example, also instead of having heavy sugary drinks, we can substitute that with for a tea, or you can do a smoothie. A smoothie will have like many contents together. For example, if you do a strawberry smoothie, okay, you can add the strawberry milk, and after some time you can also add some things like, for example, flax seeds, which aren't really audible, like visible, but then they'll still have a very good effect on improving your digestion because they have
Mm-hmm.
lots of fiber. And also, eventually, you can start adding some greens in there too, and you won't even taste them because it's like being covered by the stronger taste of strawberries, by, for example, oranges, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think food is just one part of our health that we tend to neglect. Do you think the way we develop healthy or unhealthy habits in that matter, actually, if I may rephrase the question, do you think we develop unhealthy habits mostly because of, our schedules every day and just because we don't consider it as a
Yeah.
priority?
Yeah, we don't. It's basically because at this time we tend to stress eat. So, for example, you just finished something, studying, for instance, or you had something you encountered something that made you annoyed. You go out to the kitchen and you just grab the nearest thing and you eat while you're thinking about something completely different other than the food you're actually eating. You're just putting something in your stomach. Okay, so that's the reason we don't really put it as a priority. We aren't even thinking about it. We're just eating because, to stay alive, but we aren't eating because we want to feel the taste of that food. We want to feel how that food is going to make me feel. And that brings me to the point of mindful eating. As much as hard as it can be to think about what you eat like in details, but do spend some time to ask yourself, am I eating now because I'm hungry, or am I eating now because I just want to stop thinking about that conversation I had? Okay, so think about it, and then when you go out there in the kitchen, and the first thing that your eyes are going to land on are, of course, the cupboard with all the unhealthy stuff. But try to grab a fruit, for instance, and then enter back into your room, and try to grab a fruit and a bag of chips. It's fine, but then grab something healthy, and after some time, you'll get used to it. Just start by including the healthier versions of everything, and then start by including healthy stuff. And then after that, it will become a normal, just like any
Mhm.
habit. Just like you became used to eating unhealthy, you can also become used to eating healthy.
Right, and that's a wonderful point. I think my next question for you is regarding, or maybe what are your thoughts on emotional health?
We often feel like some stuff, especially
Mm-hmm.
youth. Okay, it's a time where you're growing, you're facing so many new stuff, and your hormones, all of these stuff, they tend to make you feel like more emotional. You may think that there are certain feelings that when you come across them, you say, "Oh no, that's bad. I'm a bad person. I shouldn't think like that." But that's actually not true. For example, if say
Mm-hmm.
someone feels sad, someone cries, someone all the negative feelings, for example, hate, envy, jealousy, instead of trying to say that like these are bad feelings and I'm not normal for feeling them, you should sit with yourself and ask yourself, why are you feeling like that? And try to get it out by speaking to someone, by journaling, and by acknowledging that you are there for a purpose. You are born in this life to do something, and it's something that's so unique to you. Another thing we tend to feel is stress, anxiety, that we aren't worth who we are, or like we the imposter syndrome. Basically, I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
able to do this. I don't feel like this is me, and this is not true because all you need to do is to believe in yourself. you are here to do something, and that everything you want to do it for a reason. So I think it's very, very important to sit with yourself, to ask yourself these questions instead of bottling the feelings up, which is something that many,
Yeah.
many people I've seen do. I've been lucky, alhamdulillah, to have someone to speak to about that. And like I'm full of emotional, extremely emotional person. So yeah, I have to speak to someone, of course.
Yeah, and that again is a wonderful point or a piece of advice that you can give is to really um, kind of have a conversation with yourself or also speak to someone that you can trust. And yeah, just accept those
Mhm.
feelings, whether they are positive feelings or negative feelings, kind of get it away from your mind as something that is stopping you, and instead take it as kind of an experience or a normal thing to feel because everybody has those feelings in one point of their life at least.
Yeah, and your thoughts eventually become your reality. So when
Yeah.
you start thinking positively, you often underestimate the power of thinking positively, the effect that it can have on our lives, on something that we do. For example, say a test, say an interview you had, it could really drastically impact that.
Mhm. And again, because I think you focus more on the healthy food kind of topic when you talk about the importance of health, is there anything that you would like to say um, that relates to that that we should know?
Yeah, of course. I want to say that you should always not restrict yourself from anything. Moderation is always the key. And instead of thinking food as something that you eat every day because you have to eat it, think of it as like a tool that will help you, that might change your day. So you might think, how do I start? How do I become healthier? Healthy is not cool. All these stuff, we all want fast food at the end of the day, but it's quite easy. Everyone can do it. Okay, it's available because when I say healthy, I mean nature, and nature it's available to everyone. So, for instance, like usually the more we have, the more unhealthy the food is, the more processed, the more stuff it has. So try to make it
Mhm.
as raw as possible. Like, instead of eating something that has too much added like fats, too much added oil, refined stuff, too much sodium, too much sugar, all these stuff, try to reduce their levels. And I see that nowadays we have like so many alternatives, new alternatives in shop, and a skill that I think everyone should pay attention to is like reading the nutrition labels on stuff. If there are too many stuff that you can't read on the label, then leave that thing. Get another thing. Okay, if you see these P2456, all this, all these stuff that aren't really, understood, then that means that it's too processed for your body to handle, and
Right.
eventually all this stuff they just pile up in your stomach, on your body, and will have an effect later on.
Right. And so far with the conversation we had, I think you make it sound like eating healthy is not that difficult than we think. Could you name a few reasons why?
I think it's quite not difficult because, first of all, it's available. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can always, instead of, when you say healthy food, we think about like, these two things that are too high out of our reach, too complicated. It has to be like so clean, super, super, super clean. No, that's not
Mm-hmm.
true. It has to be like you drink water, take care of yourself by, asking yourself how you feel, what do you want right now, like actually speaking to yourself and having a conversation with yourself before you do something, before you eat something.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be something that's automatic and that you cannot control. Instead, you can just spend a few seconds, no matter how busy your lifestyle is, and ask yourself, okay, so why am I standing in the kitchen right now? Did my legs just drag me here, or do I actually want to eat something that's good for me? Okay. Second reason is it will be worth it. Okay. It
Mm-hmm.
will it will make your mind clearer. rare.
Yeah.
So by eating healthy, you'll find that your mood is elevated throughout the day. You won't feel greasy, and usually after we eat a heavy meal, we feel like we want to just go to sleep. And this should not happen because meals are supposed to energize you, not bring your energy levels down.
Yeah, definitely. And just now we talked about the why eating healthy or developing the habit to eat healthy is quite easy. Are there any challenges that you see from your point of view?
Mm, yeah, I definitely do. As a high school student, like a challenge that I frequently see is what I've already mentioned, stress eating. Like, you eat and you're not really, like you don't even put food as a priority in your day. Or for example, you spend the whole day, you have too many meetings, too many classes, too many things that you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like at the end of the day, it's just like 1 hour. You go out of your room, you take a sneak peek, what's up there? You just open and search, and then you grab something and go in. And to solve that problem, I usually try to, like, the day before or ahead of the week, I try to prepare stuff like overnight oats, or I get some bananas and I put them in the fridge so I can do smoothies later on. I also try to do like chia puddings, all
Yeah.
these quick things. So for example, between the classes, I go out, I grab it from the fridge, and I go in again.
Oh, that sounds fun, and I think a
Yeah.
that's a better thing to do than just grabbing a few of unhealthy stuff that you would not like,
Mm.
that would not be good for your body. So, I think my next question for you would be, what do you think about how our health has been affected with the whole pandemic situation?
I think that I can never answer this question because it's
Hmm.
something that's unique to everyone.
Yeah.
There are so many people who neglected themselves. It
Hmm.
depends on the personality of the person, actually. Especially, for example, if you compare extroverts with introverts, how they reacted to
Hmm.
this whole situation is completely different. So you see some people who started like not having more free time, and they started using that free time in a better way. So for example, there
Yeah.
is no transport, you stay at home, spend lots of time indoors, and that made them, like, open their minds to new hobbies, something that they can do, spend more time with their family, get to know more from people like they love, know more about them. And
Hmm.
eventually that has made them, like, that has elevated their mental health, and that has made them focus more on their eating habits, develop a hobby, like for example exercise. They started
Hmm.
exercising more, and sleeping more, 8 hours of sleep, like, finally. And I know other people who did the opposite, who at the first they struggled a bit. They were used to socializing more, they wanted to go out and felt like so many things have changed, and we're faced with a drastic amount of stress. And I
Hmm.
won't say that you are either this or that, but we're both. We're something in between.
Yeah.
So what all your choice. We all have, like, no one's life is perfect. Everyone will have some days when they feel down, some days when they feel like, how did life become like this all of a sudden? But like at the end of the day, we're all, like, alhamdulillah, we're all safe and healthy, and we should, like, take this situation and every problem, we should, make an opportunity out of it. So instead of
Yeah.
staying there and saying that everything is closed, I can't do anything, then I can't even go outside and play basketball. No, you shouldn't say like that. You should say, for example, and now I can learn more about some recipes to do at home, some healthier recipes that I can prepare in the free time. Instead of holding your phone and scrolling endlessly, you can say, okay, I'm gonna learn something new, photography, for instance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right about that. And I think I just want to know from you, what have you been up to apart from, creating recipes and posting them? Are there any other activities that you enjoyed during, the whole lockdown situation?
Yeah, a lot. The first activity that I've really enjoyed, that's gonna sound really weird, but like doing nothing. That's like
Oh,
the best thing to do, honestly.
yeah.
Sit there and do nothing, and you find yourself, like, even if it's just staring at the clouds, do nothing for a few minutes. Stop holding the phone, stop looking at stuff, just like turn off your senses and look inward instead of looking outward. Like you're focusing on what do you feel right now, what do you really want, and eventually like you get to know yourself more about how you see yourself later on. How do you want to be? What are your aims? All of these are stuff that you feel when you're sitting and doing nothing, or also like meditating. Okay, yeah, that's what I've been doing a lot.
I think that's something that you also wanted to talk about earlier, if I'm not wrong. That sitting around or not having to do anything is not actually a bad thing. Sometimes it's a good thing, because here's the time where you get to self-reflect. You get to gather your thoughts, your emotions, and really just be able to understand yourself and grow as a person. And yeah, I think I also enjoy doing that, enjoy doing nothing sometimes. Sometimes time can be really fast, like, especially with the lockdown. I feel like the months are just going on, and the days just keep passing by quicker than.
Yeah, oh my god, same, same.
Yeah.
I feel like it was just last year that the pandemic, yeah, like it's too close together.
Yeah, definitely. And so when you mentioned that sometimes, like sitting around doing nothing is a good thing and you enjoy doing that, I think that's also what the most of the youth is doing. But I feel like we feel a part of us may have felt like it was not good because you're not being productive enough like you used to. But considering how we lived our lives previously, where it was nonstop, it kept going on without rest, maybe, this is actually a time for us to do things more productively and take breaks in between. So, yeah, you're definitely right.
Yeah, so what I meant by doing nothing is as in like not focusing your attention on anything. So for example, like not doing anything on the phone, not opening social media. Um,
Exactly.
Instead of using your break like that, you use it constructively to actually take a
Hmm.
rest and let your mind take a rest. Uh, and then after that, you feel more refreshed, more energized to start on with your next task, not procrastinating. And
Yeah.
also, one thing that the pandemic has taught us is that there are many things that you can't control. Um, the only thing that you can control are your thoughts and your actions. You can't control anything around you. So you have to start by yourself, start by viewing things differently, and eventually they're going to turn out better for you, and you're going to have a smoother transition, smoother process going through everything.
Absolutely. And I think, the last question I'd have for you, or maybe the second last, I really am enjoying this conversation. I do not want to end it, but because it's a bit late over there. So, my second last question for you would be, other than health, have you been interested in kind of tackling other challenges or promoting awareness on those areas?
Yeah, I remember like engaging stuff like plastic awareness
Hmm.
to reduce the use of plastic, especially currently with all the use of masks and hand sanitizers. We've been seeing an increase in those masks being thrown into the ocean everywhere. Like just when we thought that okay, we're gonna reduce the use of plastic bags, no one is going out that much anymore. People started throwing the masks. So like what's the
Yeah.
use? Because yeah, I participated in the Ocean Heroes, and it was very cool actually. Um, yeah, and also other than that, I love video editing. I've been
Oh.
trying to develop my skills on that, but yeah, I'd say another thing that I'm really interested in is like reducing the use of plastic, and especially how it affects so many animals, so many habitats. I would love to see it being reduced, and I love like supporting that motion or creating
Hmm.
awareness around it.
And
And yeah, you can also use not use a plastic bottle. That's why I use this spot.
I have a similar one. That's cool. All right. So not only do you have a focus on health, you also consider reducing plastic and kind of supporting
Yeah,
that cause, like you said. Yeah,
using sustainable products or increasing
sustainable.
your use of
Yeah.
sustainable. You can also see like there are many retail shops nowadays that use clothes that are made from sustainable materials instead of like the bad ones. So yeah,
Yeah.
it can also be worth it if you can check the labels of your clothes and see which ones are sustainable next time you go to the shop.
Great tip. I hope our audience will be doing that if they haven't started that already. So my last question for you, Malak, is what is your advice for youth? And this is a question that we usually end with.
I think my advice, and this advice is not only to everyone watching this, but to myself too,
Mm-hmm.
to take it one step at a time. So we always have so many aims, so many ambitions that we want to like tackle, but instead of thinking about the long term, the person we want to be, think about what you're going to do now to become the one who you want to be. So don't put an exact image for yourself. Like don't say I want to be this, this, and that. No, just like tell yourself, I'm gonna do something to become like I'm gonna start with this habit, and then I'm gonna do that, and start like on a small scale. For example, tomorrow I'm gonna drink more water.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I'm gonna sleep like 1 more hour and start by gradually, and eventually you see the changes yourself. You don't have to say, in the next 5 months, I want to see myself the most beautiful person in the world. That won't work.
Yeah, so you're saying to set a realistic goal and take small steps.
Take small steps and focus on the journey rather
Yeah.
than focusing on the outcome, and not just in becoming a healthier person, but in everything in your life, like your careers, your who do you want to like, what do you want to study later on, all of these stuff.
Yeah, and I think also in addition to being healthier, you also become happier if you do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't stress yourself out too much. Like you don't say, how am I gonna become all of that? Just say, what am I gonna do today to support who I wish to be?
Yeah,
Like not necessarily would be, but like who I wish to look, like your aims, your goals.
definitely. And that is a
And they'll
wonderful
change,
piece of
accept that they'll
advice.
change.
I think on that note, we ended on a really good note. That is so inspiring to say. And I hope, even myself, our audience, and I'm sure, like you said, you yourself would take that advice. And yeah, I hope we can all do well for ourselves, stay healthy, and be happy. Thank you, Malak,
Yeah,
for today. It's been a wonderful conversation. I've had so much fun talking to you about different things
me
um,
too.
that matter and are very important. And you know what? I hope we can have another conversation again some other time to talk about more
Yeah.
things. Um, and inshallah, your future adventures as well.
Yeah, it was very amazing to speak to you today, Omaima. And yeah, I like your initiative. It's very cool, and it recognizes youth. It motivates them to continue what they're doing. And I hope that everyone who watches this will be inspired to do a small change in their life and start today. Thank you.
Thank you, Malak.